Hi there. This is Jean Roman with For Dragonflies and Me. Thanks so much for joining me at this week's podcast. As always, I'm super excited to be here sharing gardening, cooking, organizational tips and tricks, chatting about healthy lifestyles, and of course, having conversations with incredible entrepreneurs. Well, when I started this podcast, I intended it to be a place where I could chat about gardening, organization, healthy lifestyles, and again, of course, entrepreneurship. And although I still include the first three topics, I feel this podcast has really evolved into something so much more. There has been a sense of unity and camaraderie with all of my guests. And, what's really funny is even my guests that I've had on to chat about gardening and healthy lifestyles, the conversations always lead into how they started their business, which really is entrepreneurship. So that's where this podcast, I feel, is. It's my entrepreneurship baby. But this month's focus has been on providing all of my listeners with resources available for small businesses and minority entrepreneurs. So if you're a regular listener, you all know I love to share the backstory on how I met my podcast guest. And of course, today is not going to be any different. If you've been a regular listener, you may also remember that I had recently been a panelist at a leadership conference hosted by Access, and I met several wonderful women there at that event. So this was such an honor, and I'm very grateful for the women that I was able to meet there. And today's guest was actually introduced to me by an attendee at that conference that I got to chat with. And I had the opportunity to talk to her about the organization she worked for and who she was representing there that day. To say the least, I was super excited at the thought of having this organization, a representative from it, as a guest on my podcast. So the resources they offer and provide to small businesses has been a lifesaver to many, especially during the pandemic. So, without further ado, I would love to introduce all of you to Laketa Henderson, the District Director for Michigan's District Office, here today representing the U.S. Small Business Administration. Laketa, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh,
Pleasure.
well, it is honestly my honor. I felt so honored when you guys said, yeah, we'll talk to you. I'm like, okay,
Of course.
but here we are, and we're going to talk about the SBA and what it does and how it assists individuals starting their own companies. So, Laketa, can you start with a little bit on that?
Yes, just so everyone knows, the Small Business Administration is located in Detroit at the Federal Building in downtown Detroit. We have a second location in Grand Rapids. That's our alternate work site. And
Okay.
if you're considering starting a business, we ask that you give us a call because we need to understand what your needs are at that time. We want to talk to you and then direct you to our resource partners. Now, the SBA, we're a small group, so we can't provide all the one-on-one counseling. So we have resource partners. Those are people funded, those are organizations funded by us who do our counseling, technical assistance, and provide a lot of training on our behalf though, and you may have heard of them. We have SCORE. SCORE are retired executives who have industry specific experience. And many of these are former owners of businesses, the presidents currently. They'll sit down with you one on one to talk about what you're trying to do, or if you haven't established a business, where you're trying to go. And then from there, they can provide you counseling on your specific needs. This isn't one size fits all. They're going
Yeah.
to sit down with you one on one, which is important.
Yeah, I'm a little familiar with Score. I think I actually was at a
Mhm.
networking event that had several of the members of that organization there. But before we dive too deep into
Oh,
the
okay.
topic, no,
Okay.
you're fine.
I'm sorry.
We want it to be an easy
Yeah.
peasy flow here. But I want my listeners to know a little bit about you, Laketa, and how you came to work with the SBA.
Oh, okay. Well, my story is I'm a native Detroiter. And right after high school, I made the decision to go to the U.S. Army.
Wow.
I needed money for college. So
Mm-hmm.
my parents didn't have that. They weren't printing it in a basement, so to speak. So I did the GI Bill. I went to the military, came out of the military with the GI Bill. completed college and the military, the GI Bill paid for my bachelor's degree.
Mhm.
After that, I graduated. I took a job with General Motors
Okay.
and worked there for several years, and then moved to Princeton, Indiana, and stayed in the automotive field for about 15 years, working at Toyota and Hyundai. But for some reason, I always felt like I wanted to make greater impact. Building a car is fantastic, but I wanted to do something that I know made impact. And
Hmm.
so I wanted to do a job switch. So I started doing marketing and outreach for a hospice. And there's nothing like uh humbling yourself when you're working for hospice. But that job gave me the opportunity to get out in the community, speak to people, and talk to them about services. And so when I saw this job announcement, at the time, my husband worked for the government, and he said, "You ought to try the government." And when I saw the Small Business Administration's announcement, I said, talking to businesses, I can do that. Because when I was doing hospices, that's where I went mainly to a lot of organizations to get them to use our services, a lot of hospitals. And I spoke to a lot of higher ups and people who can make decisions. And I said, you know what? I do want to help small businesses. And there's nothing like the mission of the SBA, which is to help businesses start, grow, and recover. And it has been one of the most fulfilling times in my life to watch businesses flourish. And you don't know what you don't know. I didn't
Hmm.
realize the impact that small businesses had in our communities, in our country, because over 60% of the businesses are small businesses in this
Hmm.
country. They keep our economy going. And
Hmm.
most people just think of the GMs, the Home Depots, the Microsofts, but no, it's the mom and pop
Hmm.
that keep the engine running.
Yes,
It's the mom.
ma'am.
So that's why and I feel like now I can see my true impact.
Oh, that's an incredible testimony, Lakita. And my son, my third son, fourth child,
Mhm.
Ryan, he's actually in the Marines, and he went right out of high school. And
Yes.
he said if he doesn't decide to make a career out of the military, he is going to do the same thing and utilize that. But before we could move any further on, thank you for your service during that
Oh,
time.
thank you. Thank
We
you.
appreciate that, and it's an incredible sacrifice for some people to go into the military for their families and the community. So we certainly do appreciate all of
Thank you.
our veterans. But where do we start? The
Hmm.
SBA has so many resources available to startup
Yes.
companies as well as existing businesses.
Hmm.
So I think, unless you want to go in a different direction, I think the first step should be a brief description on who and what the U.S. Small Business Association is, and then we can move into the plethora of opportunities the SBA offers.
Okay, so first things first, we are the Small Business Administration.
Administration.
We
Okay.
are a we are a government entity. We are an agency. So often sometimes, so don't feel bad. We always get called the Small Business Association.
Association. Okay.
And that just lets us know that we still got work to do. We've still got to be on people's minds in terms we're here for you. As a matter of fact, we're here because of your dollars, your public
Yeah.
dollars. Everything that we do is free because you've paid for it with your taxes. But overall, the excuse me, the Small Business Administration was created almost 70 years ago. We have our 70th anniversary this July. And it
Wow.
was created, yes. And it was created for the simple fact to allow small businesses to have a level playing field with
Mhm.
the larger companies out there. And about almost 60 years ago, we created the 8A program, which allows small businesses to compete for government contracts. But we were created to give opportunities to small businesses that would never get those opportunities because they were so small. We help you start, as I stated before, in terms of we help provide business plan, business plan training, business development to help you understand how to run a business. We also, if you're already in business, we can help you understand how your business is running, what you need to do to help it grow in terms of financial moves or moves in terms of inventory, moves in terms of getting a new business and recover. As you know, during the pandemic, we offer disaster loans. We've
Mhm.
always offered disaster loans, which many people didn't know about until the pandemic started, and we offered the EIDL, which we have always had, EIDL, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan,
Okay.
and then the PPP. We
Mhm.
also had the SBOG, which was for shuttered venues, and then we also had the RRF, which was the Restaurant Revitalization Fund for those restaurants that were closed. So not only do we have resources in terms of disaster, we also have loan programs. Now, we're not lenders, but we have relationships with lenders. And based on our programs, SBA can offer a guarantee of that loan to help incentivize a lender to loan to that small business who otherwise may not be able to get it, because we offer between a 75 and 85% guarantee.
Wow, that's
And then
awesome.
it is. And then the biggest bang of the buck for SBA is the one-on-one counseling and the many training classes that our resource partners offer. You can sit down in a class, talk about your finances, and this can be in classes or this can be one-on-one. And, many times you don't want everyone to know what's going on with your business. That's why we have those face-to-face interactions. That's with you and your counselor. And these are counselors you can keep for the rest of your life. I see people coming back to, say, for instance, SCORE, and they've been going to the same counselor for 10 years. And as their business continues to grow and grow, they're getting feedback and advice and guidance on what steps they should take next, what moves should they make. And for me, when I hear small businesses, and I hear it all the time, I didn't know these resources were available.
No, I'm learning even as we're talking just now.
And they are, and they're free. And I spoke to a small business owner last year and I said, what does SBA have to do to get the word out that we're here? Our resource partners are here. We want to talk to you. And he said, you guys need to go door to door. You need to get out on these strips, go door to door with these businesses. He said, because I guarantee you, many of them have no idea
Mhm.
that they could be doing this one-on-one training, or that you have classes on this. Now, do we have the resources to go door to door? No, I wish,
Yeah.
but that's why we're out here. That's why I'm on this podcast with you, because we want people to know, if you're an entrepreneur, if you just have a concept or an idea, and if you're already running a business, come and see us, reach out to us. We can help you. If we don't have the resources, we can find the resources on what your need is. And
That's
that's,
incredible. Oh, go ahead, Lakita. I'm so
oh
sorry.
no, and that's the beauty. No, I was just going to say, and that's the beauty of what we can do. We can help you. I got an email the other day saying, hey, I need some credit counseling. I don't understand. I have a business, but I just don't understand. I'm having difficulties with credit. Can you help? And I hit him back an email. I emailed one of my resource partners and said, can you help talk to this man and his
Oh,
employees about business credit? And she said, sure, I'll reach out to him now. So if we don't know anyone, we can find someone to help you. I don't want anybody. For instance, there's a group, business in Flint. They've been in business for 15 years, have been struggling for 15 years, have not been able to get a loan, have basically financed their business through their part-time jobs
oh
or
boy.
family and friends. And when they were advised, have you ever sought out SBA? They said, we'd never even heard of SBA. And those are the things that crush me.
Yeah.
And so we've got to do a better job of building our visibility, getting out there, speaking to the communities, and definitely speaking to the underserved, because those are the ones who are suffering the most.
Hmm.
The mom and pop shops, the one or two employees, those are the ones, because they're so busy keeping the business going.
Yeah. Hello.
Exactly.
Yep.
That you don't have the time to maybe break away and take a couple of classes, do this or do that. And if you get a business counselor, they'll work in your schedule. Sometimes some will come and see you. They'll sit on the phone with you for 30 minutes or an hour, just to help you, because we want you to run your business, but we don't want you to be in your business all the time running it. Literally, you're the president, the CEO, the marketer, the secretary. We want you to
Yes.
run it, but we don't want you to be in it running. We want you to be able to step back and enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah. And I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I worked for the city of Dearborn. So I was
Mhm.
the events manager for the DDA for almost 6.5 years. And then I went to the chamber in Dearborn and was their director of events. And so during that pandemic time, I was with the DDA. And so that's when I became familiar with the SBA
I
through the
bet you
cooking.
did, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am. Oh my
Because you
gosh.
took a
And
lot
the
of calls, didn't
restaurants.
you?
Yeah, because I was the person that had the relationships with all the small business owners.
Hmm.
And so I had to get educated real quick. And even just with what you're talking about, my biggest personal dilemma, like I am pretty organized with my
Right.
time. I have
Right.
certain times allotted for certain things,
Hmm.
social media scheduling, and I try to focus on taking participating in at least one networking event, which I mentioned to you the day of this recording. I'm going to an owner to owner, an SBAM networking event tonight. But it's key. But the one thing that I feel I have the biggest struggle with, Laketa, is I try to schedule an hour to 2 hours a week on education. How can I learn this? How can I learn that? What can I do to better this? And you know what? That's the thing that always falls by the wayside because I don't always have the time. I still have two boys that are, weightlifting and sports and everything else. And so I totally get what you're saying. And, having that counselor, I can't even imagine the benefit that would be. But, excuse me,
Hmm.
Laketa, you know, now that you've given my listeners a very detailed, not brief description, which I appreciate. Yeah, no, it's awesome. Of the SBA, tell my listeners, what's that first step to connect with a rep?
The first step to connect with us is so easy. You can email us at SBA, at Michigan at SBA.gov.
Okay, and listeners,
And
don't worry. I'm going to have every link that Laketa talks about in the description here at my blog,
right.
my podcast, my YouTube channel, everywhere. People will be able to connect with you.
And I'm going to send you some more, but
Okay.
SBA at Michigan.gov, it's our inbox, and it'll allow you to leave a message. It'll show us your email address, and depending on what your needs are, if you say, hey, I'm thinking about starting a business, want to talk to someone about funding, or I'm having difficulties with my business, and then your phone will be routed to that person who can assist you. Because in my office, I have two lender relations specialists who specialize in our lending programs and work with our banks. I also have an economic development specialist who also works with our partners, our resource partners. And then we have government contracting people, because sometimes we get emails saying, hey, I'd like to look at your certification programs because I'm thinking about doing business with the government.
Mhm.
Can you tell me what to do? And depending on what your need is, we'll route you to that correct person, and then they'll speak to you. And then based on your need, we can determine, is this something we can do in-house with you, or do we need to send you to a resource partner for assistance?
That's awesome. Okay. And so now the SBA has so many resources and programs. So I'm going to have two different questions, one on the resources and one on the program. So
Okay.
first, let's move into the types of resources available to
Okay.
startup businesses. And then again, we'll move into what is available to existing companies. So what are some of those resources, Laketa? And I know you've already
The
mentioned a few.
Well, the resources are and the resources are dependent on what that particular business wants.
Okay.
So if you email and you say, hey, I'm thinking about, I got an email last week said, I've had this concept for 10 years and I'm ready to do it now. I need to talk to somebody about how do I start? Where do I go? What do I do? And you'd be surprised. It's not even people who are, want to somebody to help them with a business plan, but they're talking about, how do I select a name? Do I need an EIN? Do I need this? Do I need this? Where do I register with the state? So things like that we can definitely help you with, but then we know also that you're going to need the counseling on how do you start your business. So depending on that, I would send you to probably the Small Business Development Center, and short for SBDC. So when you hear me say SBDC, don't get confused. The SBDC can help you start, grow, and assist you in terms of a recovery, in terms of finances, and help you with filling out applications. But they'll talk to you about what's really important: market research. You want to start a business, you want to do this, you want to do that, but they are going to be honest and say, is this something you should really do, where you want to do it? Is this the business you want to do? And that's with market research. You need to see, is there a need for what you're trying to do? And if there's a need, where's the best place to be? They have the market research that I encourage everyone to look at, because many times I'll see people start businesses. They'll go out and buy a building and they've done no research. You know, that vacant building is vacant for a reason.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
may not be
Location, right?
location. So they'll help you look at those numbers to determine, is this really the business you need to be starting? And then if it is, then they'll help you in terms of a business plan, training in terms of talking to a lender, and what the steps you need to take to get that business started. And I mean, literally, our resource partners can take you from a conceptual idea to helping you get it off the ground. And they don't lend, and let me just say this, with the SCORE and SBDC are not lenders, but they can then assist you going to a lender. We have women business centers that we refer to as WBCs. They actually have in-house micro lending, because sometimes a lot of business owners have done a lot of saving. They have families who are going to help them, but then sometimes there's a shortfall and there's capital needed. So they have micro lenders that can provide you with those smaller loan amounts that you may need. You may not need to go to well, if you go to a larger lender and you get turned down, then you can come to a micro lender. So we have, it's so specific to the needs of the lender. So I can say, you know, one-on-one counseling, access to capital, financial literacy, you know, from starting all the way up to beginning, but it's so specific to the business, because one size doesn't fit all. You know, business A will have another need, business B may have a totally different need based on their specific situation, but we take the situation of that person at that time and then get him to the right resource. And once that resource has done what they can, if they can no longer assist, then we refer them to another resource. It's an ecosystem of organizations that come together to make sure the small business survives, or gets going and survives and thrives.
You know, the more I'm listening to you, I feel like, you know, I understand this is my podcast, I'm interviewing you, but I'm sitting back and taking so much of this in, you know, for
Good.
my own personal. And so I am just, it is really incredible what the SBA does and it offers. And it's like, and I totally get what you're saying. It's like, you know, trying to get the word out there and where people may not be familiar. Because, you know, back to when we were talking earlier, you know, when I was saying with the DDA, that is a similar issue that many cities have if they have a DDA. When I first started going door to door and saying, "Hi, I'm Jean," at that time Smith, I'm married now, but "Hi, I'm Jean, and I'm the event manager with the downtown Dearborn DDA, Downtown Development Authority," and they're like, "The what?" And it's like, the DDA, you know, your tax dollars pay me. And it's like, I'm here, you know, we're trying to create events that are going to bring people from our community as well as the surrounding communities into Dearborn so that they can learn about your business. You know, we are doing Dearborn Restaurant Week, we're doing these concerts, you know, let's get your information out there. This is what we do. I would say, Laketa, easily 90% of our businesses did not know. So that was a real goal of our team. And my boss at the time, Christina Shepherd-Decius, she's an incredible woman. And she just set out to people need to know who we are. It's like, how do all these business owners here in Dearborn not know who we are?
Right.
That we their tax dollars are paying a portion of uh, this organization, and we're here for them. And so I totally can understand some of the frustration you must feel with like, we're here to help. Oh my gosh, we're here to help. Utilize it, you know? But so that, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about that. But now
Sure.
again, it's like the programs that the SBA offers. There's so many of those as well for existing businesses. And, can you share a little bit of information on that, the certifications and whatnot?
We had just so you know, we have an actual our SBDC has a growth team, and the growth team, that's specifically what they do. They take existing companies and help them understand their business and do timelines with them in terms of where they want to be and at this time where they want to go. And it's for existing businesses only. And the title is the title. For those who want to grow. Now, if you want to stay small, there's nothing wrong with that. There's some people like, I'm happy with my one shop. They also can still help you in terms of how your finances, how you should be running your business, helping you understand how you make your money. Because one thing we found out is many business owners, they know they're making money. They have no idea how they're making money
Mm.
because they haven't gotten into the finances of their actual business.
They think I'm not an accountant.
Exactly. And then they go out and, and believe it or not, we still have people who are on Excel spreadsheets, but that's just another thing. So they help you understand how you're making money. What is it, your run rate? What is your capacity? What do you need to do to grow? Or what do you need to do to maintain, but also still make a profit? Should you hire more employees? Should you not hire? Do you need to let people go? But the whole goal is to help you grow or maintain and also step outside of your business because we want you to be able to run your business without being actually in your business, running your business. And that's the Small Business Development Corporation.
Okay.
They're actually phenomenal at that. And I recommend the growth team all the time. As a matter of fact, I got a call from Daimler Chrysler. They have a small business supplier development program for the suppliers, but they understood that many of them were, it appeared, not running their business as they should.
Mm-hmm.
So they asked the SBA, could we recommend some support? And we sent the small business development program to them, and they had to do a capstone going through in terms
Mm-hmm.
of how they are going to market, how they're going to grow their business. And they actually asked us again this year to do the same thing, to
That's
come
awesome.
in. And yes, the growth team is, their level of expertise is far beyond my capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So they're actually phenomenal. I've gotten with them. So if you're a well-established business or a business who's just been running for a few years and you're struggling, don't know why you're not making money, you want to make more money, you probably need to get into the finances because I'm sure it's there. It's just not being managed as it should.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we don't understand that um, too many employees or not paying attention to the inventory, how it can drain our resources.
Yeah, if you're
So
ordering things you don't need that you already have a
yes,
case of, yeah.
yes. So please contact the growth team, and they can take you step by step to help you understand your business better and show you what you're doing versus what you need to do.
Again, it's like this is such an education for me as well, Laketa. But the SBA offers several programs, as you've talked about, so many of them. And I was wondering if you could go into a little bit more specific detail about your women-owned small business program, the WOSB. Can you share with
Yes.
my listeners, what that well, I just said what it stands for.
It's woman-owned small business, and it's for women who are 51. I mean, the qualifications are not that stringent. You have to be a 51% owner or more, running the day-to-day operations. There's a net worth cap, I believe. I don't know exactly what it is. I can get that to you.
Okay.
But if you are a woman owned, and you must be small and a for-profit business. If you're small, in terms of what we have is the North American industry codes called NACE codes.
Okay.
And long as you're small under your NACE code, you're considered small to the SBA. And you can apply online at, you know what, I have to look that up because I'm not exactly sure that
That's
email.
okay.
I'll get that to
That's
you.
okay. Yep.
But you can apply, and the SBA, because it realizes women are so underserved and not
Mm-hmm.
getting the representation they should in the government contracting arena, they have set aside a certain percentage of women owned that they would like to be awarded contracts under certain NACE codes. I believe it's something like 81 NACE codes. I don't have the exact number, but I can
Okay.
share those NACE codes with you. And if you can, and even if you don't have that NACE code, you can still apply for other opportunities if you can show that you can perform the requirements of that contract. But I encourage all small business owners, women, to get as many certifications as you can,
Mm-hmm.
because all it does is make you more marketable. And that goes to all small businesses. But we do know that women and veterans are not getting the representation and being awarded contracts. So we're very cognizant of helping all underserved, but uh, we know those underserved small businesses need more support. So the women don't, I would encourage them to apply.
That's awesome. And, again, listeners, I know Laketa and I are talking about a lot of different resources here, and she and I are going to be able to provide every detail for you in the description. I will have links. Laketa is going to be able to
Yes.
provide a contact for herself. And again, she or somebody on her team will
For
be
my
able to
team.
correct you. That's
Hmm.
right. But, another opportunity that I would love for you to chat a little bit about is the Community Advantage Loan and the mission-based lenders. Can you tell my listeners a little bit about those?
Okay, my community advantage. Okay, so the SBA has a flagship loans. We have a 7A and we have a 504. Our 7A loan is our most popular because it's for-profit businesses. It goes up to $5 million, and you can use it for working capital, to buy equipment, buy and renovate a building. And what happens is we noticed that some of our underserved needed more support. So what happened was SBA looked at it and created a community advantage loan program. It was a pilot that came and left, and it came back. And the pilot program provides loans up to $350,000 to small businesses in underserved markets. The program partners with our mission-based lenders, such as nonprofits and community development organizations that offer credit, management, and technical assistance to entrepreneurs. So the great part about it is this being offered through mission-based lenders. Not only, they're just not going to take your application, give you the money, and say, see you later.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to then provide you with continued training on managing your credit and doing what's in and providing technical assistance to make sure that the monies are used as they should, and to help you understand how the money should be used. And so you're getting some training along with the funding. And once again, it's part of our 7A program and has similar qualifications, but this was created to help those who didn't maybe qualify for the traditional 7A loan qualify for the community advantage loan. And
And is
all
that
of our lenders don't provide it, but we those that do provide it, and we can provide a list of those.
mhm.
But it's trying to help level the playing field, saying, hey, we know you need this funding. Let's look at our basic requirements for the 7A, and let's make a little adjustment to them so we can give you another advantage to get this loan that you so desperately need.
And it's like, I think that is the number one dilemma that most small businesses face is the funding, and acquiring it, because traditional lenders, I'm so sorry, and if you don't agree, no offense, but I don't feel traditional lenders are there for the small guy. And they, and I understand, that they got to make sure the money gets paid back. But, every time I meet an organization, somebody from an organization like yourself, it's like, I just feel like, okay, there is hope. This country, like you said, is based on small businesses, mom and pop shops. And, on my social media, I do a small business Sunday, and I encourage, people to, tag their business in the comments, let people know who you are, wherever you are in the country, in the world. And, and I always try to encourage my followers to support those local mom and pop shops. I travel to them, and I'll do a Facebook reel or a live Instagram live there saying, hey, you know what, here I am. And, I want to act as some type of an influencer for some of these small businesses to get more people out there. And it's like the funding, I feel, can be so discouraging to a lot of small businesses for that startup. And programs like this, can be just what that person needs. And I always
Right.
say during my podcast, talking to entrepreneurs, it's like, taking that leap of faith, right?
Mm-hmm.
Taking that next step. It's like, especially quitting the day job to do the business,
Yes. Yes.
that's
Big.
huge.
That's beyond huge. It's beyond huge. And I hear what you're saying. And we always tell people, I can give a testament that large businesses are lending to small businesses, but they don't have the mission-based focus that
Mhm.
smaller entities may have. Now they're lending, because I can tell you last year, small businesses got $813.5 million from uh, from our lenders, and they also
That's
got
awesome.
167 million from our lenders. But for those who are encountering and they've been turned down, that getting a no from a large business doesn't mean you can't get financing.
Hmm.
That's why we say come to the SBA, because we'll
Yes.
send you to our mission-based lenders. We'll send you to our certified development corporations who are mission based, whose job it is to lend to the underserved community. There's always an opportunity. And you may not get that loan, but you may get it if it's an SBA loan, because
Hmm.
keep in mind, we have a guarantee program.
And so
And
this is a little bit about the resource partners, correct?
no, that's our lenders.
Oh,
The
okay.
our
I'm so
lenders.
sorry.
SBA has a guarantee. Has a guarantee. We don't lend the money, but if someone's been turned down and needs a guarantee, depending on, if they qualify, SBA can guarantee and, mitigate the
Okay.
lender's risk to loaning that small business funding.
Okay. All
So
right.
that's our program. That's our program, a guarantee, our guarantee program.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah. And again, just another great opportunity for people. But I know after our many email exchanges, I was very excited again, to know that that you guys would be here and to share what the SBA does and what it has to offer. And one thing I would love to just ask one more question. It's like, can
Sure.
you tell my listeners one more time what steps they need to get connected with you and the organization again?
To get started with SBA and get a track or referral to our resource partners, so you can get going to either starting that business or growing that business or just getting some technical assistance where you're having difficulties, you can email us at michigan@sba.gov. Just give a quick couple of lines on what your needs are, and leave your phone number, and someone will get back to you. And we can either help take care of it in-house, but most times we send it to our resource partners, and
Mhm.
they'll sit down and talk to you about what your needs are specifically, and they'll provide you that training.
And Laketa, before we wrap up, I just want to one more time on the resource partners. Was there
Sure.
anything you feel like you still wanted to share about that? Was there a question I didn't ask? Anything else that you'd like to elaborate on with the resource partners?
I'm just going to say their names because I think one I didn't mention. We have SCORE.
Okay.
We have SCORE. We have the Small Business Development Centers in 11 locations around the state. We have Women Business Centers. One is called Great Lakes Women's Business Center in
Mm-hmm.
Livonia, Michigan. One is GROW in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And one is Cornerstone Alliance in Benton Harbor. We also have a Veterans Business Outreach Center, which is known as VetBiz Central, and it's located in Flint.
Okay.
And we also have two community navigators. One is called the Pontiac Community Foundation in Pontiac, Michigan. And then
Mm-hmm.
the city of Flint is one of our community navigators who also provide training. So once you reach out to us, you'll be connected with one of those who can help provide you whatever assistance you need, whether it be starting, growing, or recovering, and access to capital.
Well, I'm excited. And actually, one of my podcast guests this month is going to be from the Great Lakes Women's Business Council. So I'm very excited. Like I said,
Is
feel
it
very,
Shantae?
it is Veronica Johnson.
Veronica Johnson.
Yes.
Okay,
So I
sounds
actually
good.
met her at
Good,
the
good,
leadership
good.
too. Such an incredible lady.
Yes. Well,
I,
those are all people we fund. We fund
okay.
them to do what they do.
Well, I was super impressed with her, and she came up after the seminar and introduced herself. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And she asked, "She goes, do you think there'd be a place?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Of course there'd be
Oh,
a
cool.
place for
Yes.
you on my
Yes.
podcast." And so it was
Yes.
actually from that meeting Jennifer, your colleague,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
Veronica and a few other women there. I
I'm
decided, you know
sorry.
what? Oh no, I decided, you know what? I need to do a month of resources for small businesses. And so I'm really excited with the organizations that I don't know if you're familiar with Buy Detroit.
By Detroit. I think I have heard of it, but
Here at
yes, there was
Concrete.
a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, there is. It's like I think
Okay.
I could do something probably for a good 3 months, a whole
You
quarter on
could.
business
You
resources.
could. And
And
I've got
it's
plenty of names for you.
well, you know what? We're gonna have connect. We're not. This is
Okay.
not a one and done here, Laketa. But
Great. Great.
that's the thing. It's like there's so many opportunities that I'm still learning about, and so as I learn, I want to share. And I actually have what I call my gal pal list. And so over the this year that I've been doing my podcast, um, I've met so many incredible female entrepreneurs that now anytime I get an invitation to an event or something, I have my gal pal list that I forward it to everybody. Hey,
Right.
here's another one. So I just want to share every resource that I'm learning about
That's
with
great.
all of them.
That's
And
great.
so yeah,
And,
and like I
and
said, your willingness and the SBA, SBA's willingness to be here on my podcast. And I always say, if just just one person hears this podcast and benefits from it and gets their business off the ground, I feel I
you're
have done
exactly
it.
right.
Yeah,
You're exactly right. So thank you so much because one thing we found out during the pandemic, that was another eye opener, that there were too many gaps
yeah,
because many small business owners did not know where to go.
yeah.
Did not know where to go, didn't know what lender to go to. So that's why we're working so hard out in the field to get the word out that we're here for you sincerely.
Yeah.
So reach out to us and we'll get you started.
Well, Laketa, friends, Dragonfly friends, thanks so much for joining me today. And thank you so much, Laketa, for taking time out of your very, very busy schedule to be here today talking with me and sharing all of this information with my listeners. So, everybody, to see more about the U.S. Small Business Administration, or SBA, as many refer to it, you can go to my blog, of course, at fordragonfliesandme.com and also www.sba.gov. So please follow me here and at my blog at fordragonfliesandme.com. And if you haven't visited me on Facebook and Instagram, please check me out over there. I have all kinds of incredible content, gorgeous photos, inspirations, recipes, gardening, of course.
She
But
does. I've seen them.
yeah. Well, I'm excited. But well, friends and Laketa, again, thank you for joining me here today. And like I always say, until next time, eat fresh, shop local, and have a happy day.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you
you,
for having
Laketa.
me. Thank you.